Are you listening?
Welcome to another episode of the Nerf Report. My name is Brian Chappelle, and on this week's episode, the next season of Destiny 2 has been revealed. Pokemon gets a brand new competitor. Somebody already owns an Xbox Scarlet, and Resident Evil 3 the Remake is officially the best, worst kept secret of 2019. But before we jump into any of that, your top headlines. First up this week, let's talk about Destiny 2. Bungie held a live stream this week breaking down the specifics of the next season of in-game content titled The Season of Dawn. Season of Dawn takes place following the defeat of the Vex. Osiris has called upon the Guardians to stop the Cabal from invading the Infinite Forest and altering time to reverse the outcome of the Red War. Guardians must repair Osiris' sundial, complete new triumphs, bounties, and lore, and all the while unlocking new emotes, ghosts, ornaments, and finishers. The Season of the Dawn also marks the return of the legendary Guardian Saint 14, who Guardians must work with Osiris to bring back from the grave. Destiny 2 Season of the Dawn begins on December 10th and lasts until March 9th. Pokemon, Nintendo's Pocket Monster Training Simulator, has had a monopoly as of late. Well, this week, developer Crema announced a brand new, massive multiplayer creature collection adventure game called Tem Tem. And I have a feeling that Ishihara is not going to be happy about this one. Tem Tem is being described as a new, massive multiplayer creature collection game, in which players will catch as many Temtems as they can, battle other tamers, customize your house, and join friends while exploring the dynamic open world of Airborne Archipelago. Now, there are two big noticeable differences between Pokemon and Tem Tem. The first being its social environment. Tem Tem features emotes, social space, and the ability for players to play through the game's campaign together. And the second major difference would be Tem Tem is taking a games-as-a-service strategy towards the game's future, with a roadmap featuring new updates, weekly challenges, new Tem Tem to collect, and new ways to play. Now, early access for Tem Tem will start on January 21st on Steam, along with the Humble Bundle. Dear Shuhei, you know what PlayStation really needs right now? Tem Tem. Please, buy this company. Also this week, do you remember growing up, that kid that was down the street whose rich parents bought him everything? Like while you were gaming on the PS1, his parents got him the PlayStation 2. While you were still riding around your bicycle, he was picking up chicks in his big wheel. Well, this week we found out that Xbox's Phil Spencer is that kid. This week on Twitter, Xbox President Phil Spencer tweeted, "And it started. This week I brought my Project Scarlet console home, and it's becoming my primary console. Playing my games, connecting to the community, and yes, using my Elite Series 2 controller. Having a blast. Great work by the team. 2020 is going to be an incredible year." Now, Project Scarlet, of course, is Xbox's next-gen console that is currently under development and is currently slated to launch in the fall of 2020. And last I checked, it's still 2019. Must be nice to be Phil Spencer. And finally, for our top headlines, let's talk about one of my favorite video games, Outlast. Last month, we covered developer Red Barrels teasing the next chapter in the Outlast series. And this week on Twitter, developer Red Barrels dropped some brand new information about the upcoming game. Red Barrels tweeted, "Welcome to the Outlast Trials. Set in the era of the Cold War, the Outlast Trials will allow players to face the horrors that await by themselves or with other test subjects." Now, Red Barrel expanded upon this announcement on Facebook by saying, "The Outlast Trials is still in production, and as our co-founder David Shadanoff puts it, now we've done our proof of concept. It is time to focus on content creation, variety, and gore. Oh, and no, the game is not VR. Well, that is going to wrap up this week's top headlines. So, without further ado, let's jump into this week's top story with a segment that we like to call The Rundown.
Now for something completely different, yeah.
Resident Evil. Oh, sorry. Can we do that one more time? me.
Resident Evil.
Following the release of Resident Evil 2, the remake, it has long been speculated that Capcom would continue remaking older titles. But the major question among Resident Evil fans is which game would be remade next? Would we go back to the mansion where it all started with Jill Valentine and Chris Redfield? Or would we battle the nemesis as Jill Valentine? Well, luckily for us, PlayStation may have leaked the official announcement this week. Because this week, GameStat reported image assets that were added to the PlayStation Network store. The images include our first look at the cover art of Resident Evil 3, the remake, also known as Biohazard Resident Evil 3. Now, all of these leaked images raise a bunch of new questions. Like, when will we see or hear the first official confirmation of the game? Well, my first thought would be the Game Awards. They are right around the corner, and Jeff Keighley has already confirmed that there are 10 new games being revealed during the show. However, Keighley did confirm in a Reddit AMA this week there are no plans, never were, to do anything with Resident Evil 3 at the show. A lot of these leaks are completely wrong. Nothing about our show has leaked as of this writing. So if it's not going to be the Game Awards, there has to be another event where we see our first look at Resident Evil 3. Sorry, I thought I turned this off. 1 second. Wait. PlayStation is holding a State of Play next week? Now, of course, Resident Evil 3, the remake, being a part of PlayStation's State of Play next week, isn't really confirmed. But PlayStation is the company who leaked the images, and PlayStation is the company that revealed Resident Evil 2, the remake, at E3 in 2018. So, tinfoil hats on. What if, during PlayStation's State of Play next week, we found out that a remake of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis is going to be released in 2020? And while we're at it, let's get crazy. What if it was a timed exclusive for PlayStation? Or what if it was going to be available to all PlayStation Now subscribers for free on day one? I mean, crazier things have happened, but we definitely will find out on Tuesday, December 10th, when PlayStation holds their final State of Play for 2019. And finally, for this week, we come to that noise. Of course, signifies that we are running out of time and coming close to the end of the show. So, in order to cover all the week's remaining news, we must initiate a segment that I like to call Every single week, we have so much news to talk about and so little time to do it. So we take all the week's remaining news, put 60 seconds on the clock, and try to cover it as fast as humanly possible without running out of breath, passing out, or dying! So with that in mind, let's put 60 seconds on the clock for the noise and go. Resident Evil spirits are joining the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate roster. Super Mario Maker 2 released a brand new update this week, which include a lot of things, but most importantly, Link as a playable character. Battlefield 5 is receiving a brand new map next week called Wake Island. Speaking of updates, No Man's Sky received an update this week called Synthesis. Final Fantasy VII The Remake is launching next year, but don't worry, Final Fantasy VII The Remake Part 2 is currently in development. Ubisoft confirmed that they are still hard at work on Avatar the video game. Apex Legends dropped a brand new BD1 Pathfinder skin this week in honor of Fallen Order. Stadia members are getting Tomb Raider and Farming Simulator for free for the month of December. Grand Theft Auto Online is about to get a brand new heist around the casino. PlayStation turned 25 years old this week, and you don't look a year over 5. Get it? Because it's the PlayStation 5. And finally, Snoop Dogg is going to be a playable character in NHL 20. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for Nerfed in 60 Seconds, and that is it for this week's episode of the show. If you like what you saw, you want to see more content just like it, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. As always, my name is Brian Chappelle. You are you, and this has been the Nerf Report. Thanks for watching. Thanks again for checking out our channel. You know, we go through this process every single week, and I'm starting to think that nobody can hear me. So let me pull out the magic microphone and make this a little more clear. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with your friends. There, I think everybody gets the point now.